Bonjour Year 9, welcome to lesson 16 of the second summer half term. And today you're changing topic with Monsieur Bullis and you're going to look at au collège at school. Here's the list of equipment you need for today's lesson. You'll need your exercise book that the school gave you, a pen and a ruler, your Module 6 knowledge organiser, which is on class charts, and wordreference.com. Pause to get that ready now. Thank you so much for uploading all of your work onto class charts. Please remember to email me if you've got any questions about the activities in this lesson, and here's my email address. The work that is being uploaded onto class charts is of such a high level. I'm so impressed with your accuracy. It means that those of you doing GCSE next year are going to do so well. Please always remember to upload your work to class charts, because we don't want you to do the work and for me to have to contact home thinking you haven't submitted it. So make sure you always do upload it onto class charts within 2 days of the lesson. Merci. Copie la date mardi 7 juillet et le titre J'étudie le dessin, I study art, and underline those neatly in your book. Then write down the objective, l'objectif, to write about school subjects that you like or dislike. Pause if you need to and press play when you're ready for the do now activity. For the do now activity, I want you to write the following sentences 1 to 6 in English in your book and then translate them into French. Pause to do that now and press play when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, here are the answers. 1. Je vais faire du camping is I am going to go camping. Now you needed to remember here that in French they don't use the verb aller for to go camping, they use faire du camping. So you had to remember to conjugate the verb aller and then to use faire du camping. Je vais faire du camping. You had to remember this for the rest of them. So elle va faire du camping. The she is going to go camping. You had to also do the same thing for numbers 3 to 6. Ils vont faire du camping. They are going to go camping. Nous allons faire du camping is we formal are going to go camping. And number 5, you are going to go camping. Tu vas faire du camping. And number 6, vous allez faire du camping. You plural or polite are going to go camping. Pause if you need to and press play when you're ready to go on to activity number 1 with Monsieur Bullis. Bon travail, merci.
So if you remember, today we are learning about school subjects and what you study at school. It's a revision from what you did in year 7. Let's see what you remember from it, and let's start with the pronunciation. So can you repeat those phrases after me, please? J'étudie le dessin. J'étudie le français. J'étudie le commerce. J'étudie la géographie. J'étudie la chimie. J'étudie la religion. J'étudie l'anglais. J'étudie l'art dramatique. J'étudie les sciences. J'étudie les maths. And for the negative sentence, je n'étudie pas l'allemand. Well done, year 9. Now is the time for you to write down the vocabulary in your exercise book and match it up with the English. Press pause and then press play when you're ready for the correction. Here is the correction to your work. So let's have a look at the first 3. Le dessin, of course, is art, français is French, and commerce, business. Now, you would have noticed that j'étudie, of course, means I study, and then you got le followed by the school subject. Now, why is it le? Yes, you're right, because the school subject is masculine. When you translate it in English, you would have noticed that le's disappeared. So le means the most of the time, but in English you don't say I study the art, or I study the French, or I study the business. you remove that the and you just put the subject. It's something you really need to remember when you're going to start translating at the end of the lesson. La géographie is geography, chimie is chemistry, and religion RE. So once again, you got j'étudie, this time followed by la, and then the subject. Now, why is it la and no longer le? Yes, you're right, because géographie, chimie, and religion are feminine subject. Therefore, we moved on to la. J'étudie l'anglais is I study English, and l'art dramatique, drama. So this time we don't have le, we don't have la, we've got L apostrophe. Who can tell me why there's an L apostrophe there? Well done, and you would be right, because A is a vowel, so after le or la, you get rid of the E or the A and put an apostrophe. Anglais is masculine, and art dramatique is also masculine. But it doesn't matter, they start with a vowel, so you put an apostrophe. It only matters when we're going to start talking about opinions and reasons in our next lesson. Les sciences, science. Les maths, maths. So this time we don't have le, we don't have la, we don't have l'apostrophe. We've got a fourth option, which is les. Now, why is it les this time? Yes, you're right, because science and math are plural. However, when you translate j'étudie les sciences in English, you move it back to singular, so it's just I study science. And the last one was the negative, of course, I do not study German. Please note that you've got N apostrophe, then étudie, and then pas follows it. Press pause, make sure that your correction is perfect. You also have correct spelling, that means accent on géographie, and that N of a 5 underneath the C of français. And then when you're ready to continue, press play. So now what I want you to do, I want you to practice its vocabulary by spending 10 minutes on Quizlet. Make sure you are thorough and that you include a picture of your score onto the work you're going to submit on class charts. Press pause and then press play when you're ready to continue. So for our next activity, we're going to once again put a bit more revision into what we are doing today. So if you look at the list of term phrases in the first column, you've got the days of the week in case you've forgotten them, and then I've added two more, like tous les jours, which is every day, or une fois par semaine, once a week. Now please note, if you want to say twice a week, you go deux fois par semaine. Yes, you're right. The second column is your verb, so either j'étudie or je n'étudie pas. Third column are the subjects, which we've talked about before. I've just added on there le PS, which is PE. Yeah, and then that's it. Then you've got your connectives, car, et, mais, par contre. Par contre, which is another way to say however, you know cependant, but that's a bit of a different one this time. Then you've got your opinions. Now, instead of just putting j'aime, I put some variation of j'aime, like j'aime vraiment, j'aime beaucoup, j'aime bien. For your I really like a lot, or I quite like. It's actually quite nice to use those as it brings more variety in what you're doing. I've also added a complex opinion. Ma matière préférée, c'est. Now, please note that on matière, the accent on the E is grave, so it goes down, and on préféré, it goes up on all the E's but the last one. And finally, the last column is exactly the same one as the third column with all the subjects again. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to read some sentences from that grid, and what I want you to do, I want you to write them down in French in your exercise book. As usual, feel free to press pause at any time if you think it is going too fast. Numéro 1. Le jeudi, j'étudie le français et j'aime vraiment le français. Numéro 2. Tous les jours, j'étudie l'anglais, mais je n'aime pas l'anglais. Numéro 3. Une fois par semaine, j'étudie le dessin, car ma matière préférée, c'est le dessin. Numéro 4. So this time I'm going to read you the sentences in English, and then what I want you to do, I want you to write them down in French. On Tuesday, I do not study chemistry, but I like chemistry a lot. Numéro 5. On Mondays and on Fridays, I study PE. However, I hate PE. Well done, Year 9. Now is the time to check your work. So spend a couple of minutes just going through the sentences, making sure that your spelling is perfect and that you've got all the words. Once again, use a different colored pen so I can see your correction. Press pause and then press play when you're ready to continue. Now is the time for you to be creative. Write down your own sentences and then translate them into English. Press pause and then press play when you're ready to continue. To finish with the lesson, what I want you to do, I want you to translate the following sentences into French, just to see how much you remember from what you've done today. So press pause, write down numbers 1 to 5, and then translate them straight away into French. We'll correct them in a few minutes. Here is the correction to your work. So the first one, first you have to translate on Mondays, which is of course le lundi. I study Harry, j'étudie la religion, et j'adore la religion. Now make sure that after j'étudie and j'adore, you got la there, otherwise it's wrong. Numéro 2, on Tuesdays is le mardi. I do not study. Make sure that got all the words in the right order. So, je n'étudie pas. However, not easy to translate, so make sure you got par contre correctly. And then you've got, of course, préféré with all the accents to be placed in that word, so double check. Numéro 3, you had to remember how to say tous les jours. And then for the rest, just make sure that you had les after j'étudie or je n'aime pas. Numéro 4, you had to remember how to say once a week, une fois par semaine. And then how to say PE, which is le PS. And the last one, negative again, so make sure you had it correctly, and you had to remember how to say I really like, which is j'aime vraiment. Now press pause, double check that your work is correct, and then press play again when you're ready to continue.
Bon travail. Well done. For excellent work in today's lesson. Now please remember to upload a picture of your work onto ClassJots as quickly as you can, certainly within 2 days, in order to get a well-deserved achievement point. Merci, au revoir.